Yes, we are.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we celebrate what the United Nations has declared as World Meditation Day, a truly historic milestone as the practice of meditation and its benefits are being recognized all over the world. Now, my name is Sonal Dillon, and I am a mental health therapist in Sacramento, California. And I am here with three incredible individuals to discuss various aspects around meditation, including how it is showing up in their respective industries, how it can help to uplift our society as a whole, and one that I think so many of us can relate to, which is how to overcome the challenges of making meditation a regular part of our routine. Now, following this discussion, I will be talking about just one of the many beautiful meditation practices out there, followed by a 15-minute meditation. Now, with me today is Karm Fishburn, Rami Katrib, and Vaidya Swati Maheske. Now, Karm is a veteran teacher with over 25 years of teaching experience, primarily in the fourth and fifth grade, and is located in Rockland, California. And Rami is an award-winning filmmaker and the CEO and founder of Digital Film Tree, a 25-year-old post-production and media technology company located in Los Angeles, California. And Vaidya Swati is an expert in Ayurvedic medicine with over 17 years of experience. She is the founder of Hemaveda Ayurvedic and is located in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Now, I am so happy to be here with all of you today to discuss what feels like an increasingly important topic. Now, Karm, you have introduced mindfulness meditation into your fourth grade classroom. What made you decide to introduce it to your students, and how was it received by them, the school, and their parents?
Well, I think I need to start with my own journey first to explain how it came to be in my classroom.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't too long ago, so I'm still kind of in the beginning of my own journey. So, about 2 years ago, I had the toughest school year. It was my 23rd year of teaching. And up till then, it was pretty smooth sailing. And 23 years into it, I had a very tough year and I had to come up with some strategies for myself to deal with the stress of work. And a year later, I was on a medical leave for about 8 weeks, hearing everything that's happening in my classroom. And when I went back into my classroom, I knew I was going into a situation where the students were needing um, a little more guidance as far as behavior. And while I was gone, things weren't run the same way I run them in the classroom. So I came up with, as I was on leave, I was meditating. And Sonal, you brought meditation into my life, which I am ever so grateful for, because I was able to take it into my classroom to help my students and manage their behavior at the same time. And I can't tell you enough, it was the best thing I've ever done as a teacher. And I wish I'd been doing it many years ago. It has benefited my students in so many ways. They come in the morning, they're calm, they're relaxed. It's a calm environment where they can learn to the best of their abilities. And the students themselves are saying that it helps them reset. We do it twice a day, anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, and it helps them reset. They say it gets them back into learning mode, makes them feel peaceful and relaxed and ready to learn.
Wow, that is incredible. And also when kids are, you've told me that sometimes when you forget that it's time to meditate. They will be the ones to remind you, Mrs. Fishburne, it's time to meditate, which really shows how much they are benefiting and enjoying this process, which is incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think you and I had talked months ago about asking the students how they feel about meditation. And I talk to them about it. And there are days where I'll let them meditate in silence. And we do play some classical music in the background. We call it mindful meditation in the classroom. And the students always say, MM, isn't it time for MM, mindful meditation? So 9-year-olds like the little shortcut, right? So if the lights aren't off, usually I have them off, the music's on, they know exactly where to go and sit. And many of them will cross their legs and get ready. It's great. But I asked them, so after that conversation with you, I asked them, why do you think we do mindful meditation? So I'm trying to circle back to the beginning of the year when I introduced everything to them. And they're saying it helps them focus and it helps them feel calm. And they use the same words that I do, like it centers me, it makes me feel balanced. And their responses were all along the same lines. I still have some students who, their eyes are open, but they're quiet, and some are not able to really collect themselves as well as some others, but they're working on it. And I think they want to. And some of them don't recognize that they actually are kind of meditating. And they think they're not doing it, but they are, because then when we come back to class, they're quiet, they're calm, they're ready to get back to work.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Rami, with meditation becoming more mainstream, along with the awareness of how it helps with focus and clarity and enhances creativity, what do you think would help someone who is as busy as you are running this pretty large, successful business to overcome the challenges of making meditation a part of their daily routine?
Um, just piggybacking on what Carm just said, I can't imagine a tougher work environment than fourth or fifth grade.
Right.
So that's actually really meaningful to hear that feedback, that they're relaying feedback that aligns with your own experience. That's pretty amazing. I can say in our space, which is, a relatively large ecosystem, production, post-production, more often than not, it is a frenetic 24/7, highly stressful work experience. It's not uncommon for people who work on production to work 16-hour days. And in our case, we created an environment where you can meditate. I can I can tell you that DFT, or digital film tree, is made up of both creative and technical. That's kind of what gets missed in our industry. It's commingled with highly creative people.
Mhm.
They get all the attention. And then there's all the technical people. And more often than not, they don't hang out together, right? They're in their own lanes. And so it's exceedingly hard to bring them together in general, right? To
Mhm.
have them meet and solve problems, which is where I think DFT has been successful. I call it a flat field. So if we're solving problems, if we're making forward progress, people of different disciplines can actually solve together, even though their vocabularies aren't quite the same. Now, my ongoing goal, beyond me and several people at Digital Film Tree and in my life who meditate, is to parlay that into group meditation with these interdisciplinary people, because I have had group meditation experiences and I felt it. I felt the energy of it, the benefits of it. I can't describe it because it's kind of new and uh, meaningful to say the least. So I parlay, I advocate for meditation based on the person, their role. Like for example, if someone works in production, I know they have a lot of downtime, so if you're working 16 hours, guess what? Only 8 of those hours is practical work. The rest of it is you're just waiting. You're waiting for the next thing to happen.
Right. Right. Wow. That's incredible. And also really interesting to hear you talk about group meditation and experience the power of that, because group meditation is incredibly powerful. And it is such that when we meditate, with a group of 20 people one time, that is actually the equivalent of meditating by ourselves for 20 consecutive days. So there is so much value and influence and impact in that. And it sounds like you have firsthand experienced that without maybe even really knowing how to articulate what your experience has been.
100%.
Yeah.
To parlay that with my friends and colleagues
Yeah.
is really a worthwhile goal. It takes a second, right? There's a lot of skeptics.
Yeah.
And also when people come from different disciplines and experiences, you can't just apply a general narrative.
Mhm.
You have to be really more sensitive and nuanced to where they're coming from. And that's I think the role that I play is to advocate and to create an environment for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're seeing more companies do that in creating this space for people to meditate, whenever is convenient for them in their day. You're hearing it at Nike, Google, Apple, and even the United Nations has a dedicated meditation room in their space.
Mm-hmm.
I think of really honestly Phil Jackson, as one of the original sort of leaders of meditation, as he has been very vocal about his journey with meditation and how he encouraged it in his players individually and as a team. And he has the most number of championship rings. So the
That's right.
proof is really kind of in the pudding in that
Yes,
example, right?
that's a
Now,
great example of being a Laker fan. Thank you for that.
yes, absolutely. Happy to do
And
it.
if you're
Sorry
from
for those.
Chicago, same.
Yes,
There we go.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Vaidya Swati, as a holistic healer of Ayurvedic medicine, you see people from all walks of life and with a lot of different ailments. How do you see meditation playing a role in your patients' healing journeys?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would love, I was enjoying this conversation so much, getting those insights from different statures of families and then society and people with like different kinds of work, like so draining sometimes. Ayurveda, like Rami said as well, like it's all about is how he said is everybody individually responds to certain receptors in their certain ways, right? The way they have been raised or the family traditions, the cultures, everything comes in picture as well. So when I see people from all around the world, I would say is everybody has their own challenges, their own mindsets, and that is where Ayurveda's definition comes in picture, where it is more is like hita hitam sukham dukkam ayustasya hita hitam. That means that no matter the person is happy, unhappy, healthy, unhealthy, comes from different families, no matter where his upbringing is from and his genetic heritage is from, everybody responds to certain receptors in their unique way. And that is where Ayurveda comes in picture, where it treats each and every individual in a unique manner. So when a person comes with eczema, for example, this is like the most common ailment I'm seeing in many all around the world. So when eczema comes in picture, there is like when you go to a doctor and they treat you, there is like certain creams and ointments and things that are being prescribed to everyone, right? But in Ayurveda, that's not the case. So when it comes to is like mind and body connection, I would say 80% of cases have problems with how their mind and body is not working together. That is where meditation comes in picture. So Ayurveda is not about just is lifestyle. It is not individually herbs. It is not individually food. It is everything together. So when you start making these changes, when you start healing your body, you start healing your mind. When the mind is healthy, the body is healthy, and when they're connecting with each other, they're having a conversation with each other. That is where the definition of Ayurveda healing comes in picture. And that's where I see all these energies and different age groups, right? So 60s and 70s and 50s and to babies even. It is so important. I have asked mothers of babies with like colicky pain, and I have told them to just chant or just like hum or just have that Soham meditation or a little bit of like a calming practice where you are just like rhythmically humming while you are like just calming them down. It made a huge difference in their digestive system. So
Wow.
it is like I could write like so many research articles on that, and I have already been working on 17 of them right now, is because I want to know or I want to tell people it's not about is you are stuck in life. You can get unstuck with several things in your life rather than reaching out to a medicine bottle and popping that pill. Just
Mhm.
explore, because everybody is made up of three things, and those three things are body, second is mind, and third is the Atman, which is the soul. We all have them, right? So if we can balance them, it's not about how much Rami can achieve or how much Karm can achieve or how much you can achieve. It's all about is we have the capacity. We have to focus on what is within us rather than what is outside.
Yeah.
First, if we start healing ourselves, we are making connections for these three very main aspects of our life. A healthy body can result into healthy mind, and healthy mind can give birth to a very healthy soul. And
Yeah.
that is what we can create an impact on the society as a whole as well. So when it comes to meditation, meditation can solve many, I would say, stuck emotions from your life.
Oh,
And when
yeah.
that happens, you start to experience that mojo of life comes in picture where you say, hey, I can do this. And
Right.
that's why it is not about is Ayurveda is all about is taking everything in consideration rather than just saying you have eczema and you have psoriasis and you have to suffer all through your life. No, I have
You know,
people from before and after. So,
right, right. You know, it's so interesting here you say that because even as a mental health therapist, whether someone's coming in for anxiety or depression or trauma or grief,
mhm,
really so much of it is connected to the same root cause. And what I have noticed, which it sounds like very similar to what you're saying, is when I have clients who begin to adopt the practice of meditation into their regular routine,
mhm,
there is an acceleration that happens in their healing process that
mhm,
is significant. And their energy changes. They're so peaceful. And going to what you said is that if we can teach, more kids in schools and more corporations or businesses that are teaching adults or anyone in therapy to really go inwards in this way and experience inner peace, this is what can lead our society to really exist together peacefully, to have global harmony. And I think what we all ultimately are wanting is one world, one family. So that is really beautiful to hear that you very much see and experience that as well in your
mhm,
industry.
mhm.
Yeah,
It's powerful.
very powerful. Now, Carm, circling back to you, you have so beautifully planted the seed of meditation. How do you see that growing to reach more kids? And what is needed for that to happen?
Well, I think it's starting to come into education as a whole because a few years ago, especially with COVID, post-COVID, I know we hear that all the time now, but needing to address the social emotional learning aspect at school. And I think meditation is one of those ways to address that social emotional piece. The students come in, and it goes back to what Swati was saying about, mind, body, soul, and bringing it to yourself and healing yourself.
Right.
And I think my 9-year-olds, 26 of them, are working on that, just with those 6 minutes a day. I think they're
Wow.
starting to get there and slowly get there. And I hope it can continue throughout the grades, because I see value in it. I notice an energy in my classroom that I hadn't noticed before. I don't know if I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
There's a positive, calm energy in my classroom, and it makes me feel calm, makes me feel balanced. And I think they're all feeling that as well. So last year I worked with I work with a very senior teacher, and I work with a fairly new teacher on my team. And the new teacher asked me, well, what do you do? And so I explained to her what I do. She came in and observed and appreciated it and took it back to her classroom this year. So she started
Wow.
from day one. So first day of school. And
Wow.
last year I introduced it mid-year when I went back into school, and saw the value just right away. And then my colleague, she took it into her classroom the same way I did at the first day of school. And she is noticing a calm, balanced, quiet classroom. And I think, like Rami was saying, there are skeptics out there. And the only way I think in education is people have to see it in practice and have to see the value. And I think it's sharing, student thought on what are they getting out of the meditation. So my hope is my administrators are very much so supportive and encouraging of this piece, because it addresses the social emotional learning in
That.
school. So my goal is to have other teachers observe, see the powerful impact that it's having, and maybe collect some data, because teachers like data.
Yes.
And so I think just doing these questionnaires with my students, and maybe doing a survey. And so you brought up like how are the parents receiving it? I've had parent volunteers in my classroom, and I did not think to ask them, well, what do you think? They're in the classroom, they're watching this, they're seeing the students calm and a great learning environment. So I'm assuming that they think it's a good practice, but I haven't asked. So I think a goal this year coming out of this conversation is creating a survey and asking them, does your child come home and talk about our mindful meditation, our practice?
That's
And
so good.
so I think
Carm, if they thought otherwise, I'm sure they would let you know.
oh, absolutely. 100%.
100%.
100%. And
Right.
and I'm noticing too, with some of my students who do struggle with behavior, it's helping them. And one of my toughest students wrote, this is so beautiful, it almost brings me to tears. She said, we do mindfulness meditation because after recess, we have to get back into learning mode. It helps me to be calm and know that I am strong, smart, and beautiful.
Yeah.
Which just shows that she's going inward.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really affecting her behavior in a positive way. And she was coming to me with many challenges, many struggles. And I think it's helping her deal with some of these feelings that she was having internally.
Exactly.
Wow.
And imagine, these kids are our future. They will be parents one day. They'll be teaching. So it's going like it's seed. It's right now in the ground right now. You are planting the seeds really. And when you will see that tree becoming so flourishing with those fruits coming in, it's like I would say you have accomplished what what a human life should be doing, and that is what it is. Children are the powerhouse, I would say. So
Absolutely.
there we go. You are like really repairing or putting all these things into generations right now. So when
Right.
they will be going forward, they'll be doing this for their kids.
Absolutely.
So powerful.
That's the end goal.
That is the end goal. There we go. Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, Carm. I mean, you are such a trailblazer in as a teacher and a model to show, the impact that meditation can really have in a classroom setting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just thank you for doing that. And it's very exciting to hear other teachers like your the younger teacher, sort of observing how calm and peaceful your classroom is and wanting to adopt that same model. So the hope is in spreading this awareness as meditation is becoming mainstream, and with the United Nations declaring it as World Meditation Day, really demonstrating that it is a universal practice that anyone can do. Kids, adults, children, anyone from any religion, nationality, language, gender. I do feel very optimistic about it being in schools in the near future. But it's amazing to see you at the forefront of bringing that to education and the kids. So it's amazing.
Thank you.
Now, Rami, in the entertainment and creative industry, we hear a lot about artists who meditate and meditate on their own, and we kind of touched on this already. But I'm curious to know for just for you personally, and just as an industry as a whole, do you think there is a way to get that information out there and raise this awareness that you have experienced personally and are trying to cultivate at Digital Film Tree? That doing this as a group is incredibly beneficial.
Yeah, yes. And in fact, my approach is also relevant to the use cases that Carm mentioned and Swati mentioned. So because our industry is about story. So if you think about it, even bad products can create a good story and succeed.
Mm.
We have a situation here where meditation is profoundly helpful to humanity, just, approaching it from a very high level perspective. I think the challenge is to curate some of the very best use cases, like the colic baby. Uh,
Mhm.
that's really meaningful. Now, I support research papers, but like if you have a job where you have to read, hundreds of emails a day, that part of my brain has stopped functioning. So the last thing I want to do is read further. So that's why I now ingest information like audiobooks or I watch, just like most people, especially young people.
Mhm.
So, my approach, and I think our industry is uniquely able to help, is to tell stories, to create narratives. And clearly, the more authentic they are, the more they will resonate internationally.
Mhm.
If you think about it, the professionals that make content on the platforms, they're having great success producing a program and then having it propagate across, 4 to 6 continents. We could apply that same model. And it is a heavy lift, right? Because, how do you approach it? What use cases? I think these use cases mentioned today on this meeting is a great starting point. I think education is over the top priority because it's like if that gets into their mind and into their body at this stage, just imagine where they will be by the time they go to college and then go into real life after school, or even if they don't go to school
Mhm.
Yeah.
or higher education. So it's like scripts. So Swati, you mentioned research papers.
Mhm.
For us, it's like that has to be somehow curated or extracted into a script. And usually short modules tend to
Mm.
be consumed more
Mm.
as opposed to
Mm.
something that is longer form. And that's just based on viewing habits on YouTube and all the other social media platforms.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Very.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned just the aspect of meditation being so foundational to bringing out the humanity in all of us. I mean, really, that's what meditation is. And it has so many benefits physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And for me personally, as a mental health therapist, and mental health becoming a growing concern, not just in America, but across the world, it feels more important than ever to have this resource talked about and be made available to people from all ages, as young as school aged, all the way up to adulthood. So I agree with what you said there, Rami. Now, I just wanted to thank the three of you for being here today and sharing these insights and thoughts and perspectives. It has been really eye-opening to see each of your perspectives and in your industries, how meditation is currently playing a role and how you see that role growing to benefit really society as a whole. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, as I mentioned earlier, there are so many beautiful meditation practices out there. And today I will be talking about just one of those practices. And if it happens to resonate with you, wonderful. And if it doesn't, that is absolutely okay, and would encourage you to continue to search for the one that does. Now, the meditation practice I will be talking about today is called Himalayan Samarpan Meditation. Now, the word Samarpan is a Hindi word that simply means to let go and to surrender. Now, as it is embedded in its name, this meditation comes from the Himalayas and has been practiced there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, the essence of this meditation is rooted in the awareness that we are not these physical bodies, but that we are souls. And that our souls already house all the wisdom, all the knowledge, and all the information we will ever need to know for our journey here on earth. And for that reason, to spend time with our souls regularly in meditation so we can hear what it is guiding us to do. So from this perspective, all the answers lie within us, that our soul knows why we are here, what our purpose is, what is right for us and what is not right for us, what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And the answers to these questions are going to look different for everyone because no two people are alike. Now, oftentimes the question can get asked is, what is my soul exactly? Now, from this perspective, our soul is a beautiful, loving, compassionate, and peaceful energy that exists everywhere outside of us and that exists inside of us in the form of our soul. And this energy is rooted in acceptance, surrender, and wisdom. Now, this energy has been called many different things. It's been called pure energy. It's been called divine energy, universal energy, and universal consciousness. And whatever you want to call it is absolutely okay. Now, when practicing this particular meditation, there are a few things that can be helpful to know. Now, in some meditations, the focus is primarily on the breath. In this meditation, the focus is on the crown of the head. And at the beginning of the meditation, we take our right hand, bring it to the crown of our head and rotate gently 3 times clockwise. Now, the reason for that is because the crown of our head represents the main gateway and our connection to that beautiful energy of consciousness. And when we keep our attention on the crown of our head throughout meditation, it simply encourages that energy to flow there. So the reason for rotating clockwise is that when energy is flowing in a very open and healthy way, it flows clockwise. And finally, there is a really beautiful mantra that is associated with this meditation. And it is said 3 times at the very beginning of meditating. Now, this mantra is simply to remind us of who we are in our truest form. And the mantra is, I am a holy soul. I am a pure soul. Now, in this context, the words holy and pure mean free of thoughts, free of ego, free of attachments, desires, expectations, worry, fear, judgment, and negativity. So again, reminding us that in our truest form, we are free from all of these. Now, as we meditate, there will be a soft music in the background that will play throughout. And at the beginning of the meditation, you will hear the mantra being said 3 times, first in Hindi and then in English. Now, the reason that it is said in Hindi as well is that one of the native languages of the Himalayas is Hindi. So therefore, it is said in both Hindi and English. And at the very end, you will hear a really beautiful universal prayer. Again, first in Hindi and then in English. And this prayer is essentially praying for the spiritual progress of all the souls in the world, and ultimately for world peace. So if you'd like to find a comfortable seat, we will now start our 15-minute meditation. So at this time, you can bring your right hand to the crown of your head, rotating it gently 3 times clockwise and slowly bringing it back down. And at this time, you can close your eyes, keeping your attention as best you can on the crown of your head, and we will now start the meditation music.
मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ। मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ। मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ। मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ। मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ। मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ।
I am a holy soul. I am a pure soul. I am a holy soul. I am a pure soul. I am a holy soul. I am a pure soul.
हे परमात्मा, हम सभी पवित्र आत्माएं आपको हृदय से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि सारे विश्व में शांति हो, सारे विश्व के आत्माओं की आध्यात्मिक उन्नति हो एवं सर्वांगीण उन्नति हो। यही हम सब आत्माओं की शुद्ध इच्छा है।
O Almighty, we pure souls pray from our hearts that let peace prevail in the whole world. Let all souls of the world achieve spiritual and all-round progress.
Okay, well, we hope that everyone enjoyed their meditation today in honor of World Meditation Day. Now, just like anything else, meditation is a practice and one that can take time before we start experiencing that deep inner peace that so many have talked about. Now, what we shared today was just a tiny snapshot about this particular meditation. And if you are someone who is curious or interested in learning more, we do have a free online program coming up in January called 45-Day Journey to Inner Peace. And in this program, we will be talking a little bit more about the meditation itself, how to practice it in its entirety, and my favorite part, which is sharing the wisdoms and the universal truths that come with it. And we've included a link in the YouTube chat and will also be available in the YouTube comments. So feel free to click on that for more information if you are interested. Now, it has been a pleasure and an honor celebrating World Meditation Day with all of you. Thank you to our panelists for joining and to all of you listening in. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you next time.